And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Destroy BCN, which I think is short for Barcelona. In this game, each player is a giant monster, trying to destroy each other and to destroy a city as much as they can. That is an amazingly fun theme. I hope the game is as good as it sounds. This is the board here. If you look underneath all these cubes, you'll see a city that's placed here. This is kind of a raised plastic board on top of that. Your monsters are these dice here. They're all going to start at level 2, so this is a 3-player game. But each player has a card that shows who their monster is. So you can be Cthulhu, or you can be Columbicus. I'm not actually sure what that one means. Godzilla, there's some basic monsters in here, including a giant dwarf berserker for whatever reason. Each of these has a special ability that's listed in the book itself. You're also going to have a small black bag, and inside this black bag are going to be different army pieces. These army pieces are of different colors, and that shows the green are infantry with a value 1. These are tanks of value 2, and these are air with a value of 3. And these are going to be attacking the players. Now, on a player's turn, each player has a bag that matches their color, and in this bag they're going to have 10 cubes. This is kind of like your hit points here, or at least the points you can score. So on red's turn, they can move 2 spaces because it shows a 2 here. And they do that by rolling. So they might roll here, which puts this cube in their bag, and roll again. Now next turn, they have a movement of 5. You can also attack someone. So let's say red moves again. On the next turn, they have 5, so they go 1. And you can make 1 90-degree angle turn on your turn, so they hit here. And they're hitting at a value of 3, I think. I'm not sure if the rules hit you at a 3 or a 5. We played the value when you actually hit the person. And they would do 3 damage to blue, so blue would lose 2 cubes from their bag. At the end of your turn, you have to activate or place 2 armies. So if there's any armies in the bag, you place 2 armies on the board. And you just put them somewhere. And then at the end of your turn, you can activate 2 of these guys, and they move around. And they will also attack monsters. Monsters can also attack armies, and when you kill an army, you'll just remove it from the board and place it into your bag. Players will keep doing this until there's 3 or less armies on the board, and the bag of the armies is empty, or if you get rid of all the cubes. At that point, you will empty your bag, you get a point for every cube, and for every 3 points of value of army, you get another point. The most points is the winner. Again, coming back to special abilities, like Galdrak, if he destroys an army, move it to the box where the army was, so he can move in there and get a cube. When he's attacked by an army, he loses 1 cube less. Godzilla, Copernic or Columbicus here, when he activates the armies, he can choose up to 2 armies from the board and move them. So there's all sorts of different things that the special abilities they have, they're really not that spectacular anyway. That's how you play. Not as good as it sounds here, folks. This game, first of all, the artwork is great. I like the artwork of the monsters, but the components here are just bad. Cubes in the bag and cubes on the board are okay, but the dice, your monster is a die, not a very good choice. And I don't even mind the idea of moving a die on this board and having it flip, but there's an old game from Klaus Teuber that did the same thing, where you had these robots and you moved them and it would flip the die for you. As it is now, as you're turning the die, it's a real pain in the neck, and then you can turn it in different directions, so people are sitting there trying to think the best move because they want to make it land on the 6, so they have more options next turn, and it becomes this boring abstract game as you move that around. Not to mention the troops are all meeples, so that we have green infantry and brown tanks and blue airplanes, except they all look like meeples. And you have to remember they're 1, 2, or 3 points, and at the end of the game, every 3 of them gives you 1 point, which is nothing. And this game people can all beat up on the same character. The special abilities are not balanced. Some are better than others. It's just a mess. The board is too small. The components, like I said, are not good. And it's like the thinky game, but there's not a lot of think in it. There's luck in it. And you're just going around and wailing on each other. There's no die rolling. You're just kind of moving your die, trying to get to high numbers, picking up as many cubes as you can, throwing them in the bag. You want to get to a 6 and throw 6 cubes in your bag. That's better than anything else. See, that's the problem with a game like this, is unless you're playing a 2-player game, If I put cubes in my own bag, that's better than hitting somebody else. If I hit somebody else and knock their cubes down, I'm only hurting one person. If I give myself cubes, I'm technically hurting everyone else, except for the player whose power it is. When I hit somebody, those cubes go in their bag, which is broken. So, a mess. It's a real mess. I like the artwork. I like the ideas of giant monsters destroying a city, although Barcelona seems like too beautiful of a city to destroy. But I like that concept, but there are better games out there like King of Tokyo. This is not one of them. Dice Tower Judgment, extremely problematic.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Zamknij drzwi.